welcome back to another episode of Courts This Week presented by LiveLaw. I'm your host Ostika Das and I'll take you through the most significant courtroom developments from across the nation. From the Supreme Court to local courts, I've got you covered with crisp and clear summaries. But for a deeper understanding, I will always encourage you to check out the news articles available on our website www.livelaw.in. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the latest legal developments relating to DMK leader Udhayanidhi Stalin's remarks about Sanatan Dharma, Supreme Court's response to allegations against National Conference MP Muhammad Akbar Lone raising pro-Pakistan slogans in Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, the Muzaffarnagar student slapping case, the Saryu Express attack, and much more. So let's dive into the headlines. First, let's talk about the Article 370 hearing. Last week, the Supreme Court Constitution Bench headed by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud requested the Attorney General to investigate the suspension of a lecturer by the Jammu and Kashmir Education Department. The lecturer, Zahur Ahmed Bhatt, had recently appeared in person and argued before the bench against the abrogation of Article 370. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal raised the issue, stating that Bhatt was suspended shortly after taking leave to appear in the case. After the court's scrutiny, the Jammu and Kashmir administration has now revoked his suspension. Another interesting development is that National Conference leader and MP Muhammad Akbar Lone submitted an affidavit to the Supreme Court affirming his commitment to preserve and uphold the Indian Constitution and protect the nation's territorial integrity. This move came after allegations that Lone had raised slogans in support of Pakistan in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta had urged the court to seek clarification on Lone's stance regarding India's sovereignty and his denouncement of terrorism and separatist activities in the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. However, Mehta expressed dissatisfaction with Lone's affidavit after it was submitted, requesting a more explicit denial of support of terrorism and separatism. The bench said that it will consider Lone's affidavit and analyze it closely. Also, after 16 days of hearing, the Supreme Court has finally reserved its verdict. Now, time will tell whether the central government's move to abrogate Article 370, stripping the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir of its special status, receives the approval of the highest court of the land. A plea has been filed in the Supreme Court challenging the reinstatement of Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's Lok Sabha membership. After the Supreme Court suspended his conviction in a criminal defamation case relating to the remark, "Why all thieves have Modi surname," the Lok Sabha Secretariat had restored his membership on August 7th. This plea has been submitted by Ashok Pandey, an advocate based in Lucknow. Pandey argues that if a member of parliament or a state legislator loses their office due to legal provisions, disqualification should persist until acquitted by a higher court. The plea also requests a writ of mandamus to the Election Commission of India to declare vacancies in seats held by disqualified legislators and conduct new elections. Additionally, it contends that Section 389 of the CRPC only allows an appellate court to suspend the sentence and grant bail, not the conviction itself. Therefore, the plea seeks to nullify the Lok Sabha's notification that reinstated Gandhi's membership. Notably, as per the Supreme Court's 2018 ruling in the case of Lok Prahari versus Election Commission of India, a suspended conviction during an appeal renders the disqualification under the Representation of the People Act inoperative. In a significant development, the Supreme Court has invalidated the notification issued by the Union Territory of Ladakh regarding the Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council election in the Kargil region, which was originally scheduled for 10th September. The Ladakh administration had filed a special leave petition challenging a directive by the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh to allocate the Plough symbol to the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference Party. JKNC argued that the Plough symbol was reserved for them as the Election Commission of India recognized them as a state party of Jammu and Kashmir. Conversely, the Ladakh administration contended that JKNC was not a recognized state party in Ladakh and therefore couldn't claim rights to the reserved symbol. However, the Supreme Court upheld JKNC's entitlement to the Plough symbol, dismissed the petition and imposed a fine of 1 lakh rupees on the Ladakh administration for filing this petition. The Muzaffarnagar slapping incident has reached the Supreme Court. If you don't know what this is about, here's a little context. A video from a school in Muzaffarnagar in Uttar Pradesh depicting a teacher instructing students to slap a Muslim classmate recently went viral. This has resulted in an FIR against the teacher for causing harm and provoking a breach of the peace. Social activist Rahul Gandhi, who's also Mahatma Gandhi's great-grandson, has filed a writ petition in the Supreme Court seeking a thorough investigation. A bench of Justices Abhay S. Oak and Pankaj Mithal heard the case and issued notice returnable on September 25th. The Supreme Court directed the Muzaffarnagar Superintendent of Police to submit a report on the investigation's progress. Concerns were raised about pressure on the victim's family to compromise and withdraw the FIR, prompting the court to request a report on measures taken to safeguard the victim and his family. The Editors Guild of India has approached the Supreme Court over an FIR filed by Manipur police in response to the EGI's fact-finding report. The Guild's report, released on September 2nd, analyzed media coverage in Manipur from August 7th to 10th. The FIR stemmed from complaints labeling the report as false, fabricated and sponsored. The Supreme Court has granted interim protection to 4 EGI members and issued notice to the state of Manipur in response to the EGI's writ petition. This case is scheduled for the next hearing this Monday. Stay tuned for further updates. The Supreme Court has dismissed a public interest litigation seeking a 2-year cooling off period for retired judges of constitutional courts before accepting post-retirement appointments. This petition was filed by the Bombay Lawyers Association earlier this year amidst concerns over retired judges taking up such political positions. The PIL referenced the appointment of former Supreme Court Justice S. Abdul Nazir as Andhra Pradesh's governor. The petitioner argued that while there might not be an explicit quid pro quo, such appointments eroded public confidence in judicial independence. However, the court declined to entertain the PIL, stating that the decision to accept any post should be left to the judge's discretion or addressed through legislation as it falls outside the scope of the court's Article 32 powers. Tamil Nadu Minister Udhayanidhi Stalin has come under the scanner for his recent remarks about Sanatan Dharma. During a press conference in Chennai, he reportedly stated that certain things should not be opposed but eradicated, likening it to the approach towards diseases like dengue and malaria. An application has been filed in the hate speech case being heard by the Supreme Court in response to this, requesting the filing of an FIR against Udhayanidhi Stalin for his recent remarks. The application also seeks contempt action against both Delhi Police and Chennai Police for failing to comply with the Supreme Court's directive to independently register FIRs in hate speech cases. Advocate Vineet Jindal, who filed the plea, stated that his religious sentiments as a Hindu and a follower of Sanatan Dharma were offended by Udhayanidhi Stalin's statements, and he has also alleged that Stalin's comments likening Sanatan Dharma to mosquitoes, dengue, corona and malaria constitute hate speech. In related news, a private complaint has been filed in Bihar's Muzaffarpur before the Chief Judicial Magistrate by lawyer Sudhir Kumar Ojha. The complaint alleges that Stalin made these remarks to sow discord in society for political gain and to appease followers of other religions, causing hurt to the sentiments of Hindus and the adherents of Sanatan Dharma. The complaint seeks legal action against both Udhay Stalin and his father, M.K. Stalin. In the ongoing Gyanvapi Mosque case, the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee responsible for managing Varanasi's Gyanvapi Mosque submitted an application earlier this week to a Varanasi court opposing the Archaeological Survey of India's request for an additional 8 weeks to deliver its survey report concerning the mosque premises. The mosque committee contended that ASI's actions contradicted the directives of both the Supreme Court and the Allahabad High Court, which allowed a scientific survey of the mosque premises, but on the condition that no damage would be caused to the structure. The mosque committee asserted that ASI lacked authorization to remove debris or garbage within the mosque premises and that relocating debris from the western wall of Gyanvapi Mosque could jeopardize the building's structural integrity. Consequently, the committee urged the Varanasi court not to grant further time extensions to the ASI and to reject its plea. Currently, the ASI is conducting a scientific survey of the entire Gyanvapi complex in Varanasi, aiming to determine if a pre-existing Hindu temple structure existed there. The survey has been ongoing for approximately 30 days now. Despite the mosque committee's opposition, later this week, the Varanasi district judge granted the ASI an additional 8 weeks to file its survey report. This decision came after ASI explained that it needed more time to clear debris, including garbage, loose soil and building materials which had covered the original features of the structure within the mosque. The Allahabad High Court held an emergency session in response to a recent attack on a female police officer aboard the Saryu Express. The officer was discovered in a dire condition, covered in blood, with severe facial injuries, unable to move. Passengers who boarded the train at Ayodhya Junction around 4 am reported the incident. Chief Justice Pritinkar Divakar of the Allahabad High Court received a WhatsApp message about the case and promptly convened a bench at his residence on September 3rd. Advocate Ram Kaushik, representing the victim, emphasized that while an FIR had been filed for bodily harm, grievous hurt and attempted murder based on the victim's brother's complaint, the victim's physical condition warranted the inclusion of sections 376 and 376D pertaining to rape and gang rape in the FIR. Kaushik also pointed out the inadequate implementation of safety measures for women by the Indian Railways. Consequently, the court issued notices to key authorities including the Railway Secretary, Director General of Railway Protection Force, UP Government Home Secretary and UP State Commission for Women. The case was further discussed during a subsequent hearing this Monday. Lawyers in Uttar Pradesh have been protesting a recent alleged police lathi charge on advocates in Hapur district. The Allahabad High Court took suo motu cognizance of the strike on Monday. Now the High Court Bar Association in Allahabad has passed a resolution to resume judicial work based on assurances made by a bench led by Chief Justice Pritinkar Divakar of the Allahabad High Court. The resolution acknowledges the court's commitment to taking necessary action. However, it expresses lawyers' concerns over police actions against their colleagues across the state, including attempts to suppress peaceful protests and the filing of false cases against lawyers. Meanwhile, the Aut Bar Association of the Lucknow bench decided to abstain from judicial work on Wednesday in protest against perceived injustices against lawyers. That wraps up this week's Legal News Roundup. But before I go, I have a little request from the entire LiveLaw team. We are an independent, fact-driven media organization that is committed to fearless and ethical journalism. To keep delivering your daily and weekly legal updates, especially in this dynamic audiovisual format, we need your support. So don't forget to do the fantastic 6. Give our video a thumbs up, share it with your family, friends, classmates and colleagues. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Drop your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. Tap that bell icon to get your notifications, and lastly, swing by our website www.livelaw.in for our in-depth reports. I'm your host Ostika Das and I will see you again next time.